Okay, that started. The sooner we get this done, the sooner I can go back to sleep.
Yeah, this probably won't take any longer than an hour, given what we're covering.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, could you tell that's why I was like, let's choose 8 games this time?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think we're gonna have too much to talk about.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, that's working. Cool. So, full pro topic games. Alrighty. Well then, I guess we'll just have to talk up a different thing than not the retro Twitch.
And there might be a few things that guys like Yang Yav covered. I mean, maybe Titanfall 3 getting canceled in favor of Apex Legends or something.
They said it was still coming out. It's kind of like the beginning build.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So, remember last year I made the bold prediction that the Nintendo Labo was going to outsell PSVR?
Yes.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about the Nintendo Labo since last year. Or early last year.
Yeah, it says they only sold 1 million. Which is not what I was expecting. I thought that thing would have taken off, but I guess that shows like the concept of building just isn't in this generation. Because if that shit came out in the early 90s, you know, when you and I were growing up, I would have been all over that. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Lost my fucking mind. Like, I would make things out of cardboard all the time.
Yeah, it's like 3D puzzles or Lego.
Oh well. Oh well. Oh, Ni no Kuni anime comes to Japan.
Oh.
Well, that's cool.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch that too.
If Ghibli's doing it.
It wouldn't be Ghibli, but it would be the art style, you know?
I guess.
I'm
not seeing anything particularly noteworthy on Yang Ya's channel.
No, nothing. I mean, there's Apex Legends, Division 2. We'll talk about
Disney being fine with EA doing what it is with the Star Wars license.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Activision Blizzard cutting more jobs.
Yeah, that's nothing new though. Alrighty.
I like what he says here. Kingdom Hearts 3. I thought I'd sort of like it. Turns out I'm loving it.
Video Game Donkey absolutely torched the game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he torched it. It was a lot of things of like what you and I were talking about, but he had nothing positive to say.
Ah, too bad.
He goes critically, even the gameplay can't outshine the flaws. Like, well, it's everything we said. So
yeah, fair enough for him.
Yeah,
I feel like at this point, there's no point trying to change anybody's mind about it. It's just you either love it or you don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we discussed, or one of my worries was the story and how they were going to approach it in this third game, and they just went balls to the wall with it, and I don't know. I don't think that was a good choice.
Yeah, at this point, it's being made more for the fans than anyone else. It's not very newbie friendly.
No, I think that's the big turnoff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think even the Ease series did that.
No,
and that still has the same protagonist.
Yeah,
for each game.
All right, let's get this message.
Oh.
Oh, okay. He's just apologizing. It's fine. Family first. Family first. I'll just have to change the title to not Gilo. Okay, I'm ready. You ready?
Ready when you are.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, shoot. Hold on.
Oh.
Yeah. I forgot to bring up Audacity, but it's just do the countdown again and I'll hit the button.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Here we are. Another weekend, another podcast recording. It's the Red Leaf Retrocast, episode 37, Retrogaming edition. Retro games. We're talking puzzle games. We're talking some of the most famous puzzle games. I'm your host, JD, and I'm joined here with my buddy Colin. How you doing?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing pretty good. I'm still getting used to living at home with my folks, working that out with my work schedule, and trying to find time to play more Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, man. That's something we were discussing precast. Man, it's... What do you think of the reviews? They seem awfully high to me. Do you think it's just modern gaming reviews being modern gaming reviews?
I haven't really been looking actively at the reviews because I'm trying to avoid spoilers at all costs, but it's... I don't know. I mean... I guess they like the graphics, they like the gameplay, and I guess a bunch of them are fans of the series, so they also enjoy the story.
Okay.
And I've noticed the further I get in the game, the less... Well, Sora's not nearly as cringy now as he was at the very beginning. He's not doing any of that stupid flexing.
Oh. The goofiness is toned down a bit.
Yeah.
All right.
And now that I'm kind of used to so many different kinds of gameplay being put in, like whether it's the gummy ship or the little Game and Watch games, just all these different things that you can screw around with. I'm kind of digging it now. It's not so overwhelming.
It's finally rolling through. Well, at least that's good. That's a positive. I've been playing Wargroove. It's a game we're going to be covering in February, or February games. It's a turn-based strategy, which is a topic and theme that we discussed on a previous retro gaming episode for those kind of games, and I'm really loving it. It's much more complicated and challenging than I was initially expecting. Oh my god, my words today. I'm a little bit tired.
And you've been celebrating your birthday.
I have.
It's only natural.
Yeah, plus the three bowling tournaments this week. I won all 3 of them, so that's really good. I almost bowled a perfect game last night. I went 10 in a row, left a corner pin at the end. I was like, oh, so close. There was even a challenge at the end where it was running almost to midnight, and me and a few guys, we all bowled with our opposite hand. I bowled left-handed. I only threw a 110 with the left hand. Massive difference in skill.
Oh, wow.
It should have been higher. I was very disappointed. So, that's what I've been up to. This is episode 37. We were supposed to be joined by Gilo from Retro Twitch, but he's had some family emergencies, so unfortunately he couldn't make it. Just you and me again today, Colin.
Indeed.
The
show must go on.
The show must go on. That's okay. Family comes first.
Mm-hmm.
We could, or should we say some horrible things? Just horrible. Traitor, how dare you look after your family?
They can look after themselves. This class cannot.
I live in America. There's no such thing as free healthcare. Just let them die. Anyways, the agenda we got today is probably we'll talk some more little games we've been playing. We'll talk some of the most famous puzzle games that have come out. Maybe a little game called Tetris. Maybe you've heard of it. And we got 8 games to go through, so we got plenty to talk about. Yeah. So I mentioned Wargroove. The other game I've been playing has been 2 of them, and that's Apex Legends.
Oh, yeah. How's that?
Well, it's a game that came out of nowhere, and I had no idea I would like this game.
Nice.
And Colin, you should get it. It's free to play.
Oh, cool.
Download PS4.
I'm just wary of the fact that it's an EA game.
Well...
Or is it?
I mean, it's published by EA. However, it's made by the Titanfall people, right? And supposedly it's a build. It's like a beginning build for Titanfall 3.
Oh yeah.
So it will be, according to them, it will be coming. And also according to the developers, they said that EA was hands off with this entire project.
Oh, that's good.
And it makes total sense because this game is really good.
Huh. Yeah, I think I'll take a look.
Yeah. Usually battle royale games and the like aren't my thing. They usually aren't my jam. But hey, if a game is fun and addicting to play, then count me in. Sure as shit. Apex Legends hits all the right notes. Even its loot box system, you do, this is, I mean, if you're not charging people, you know, outrageous things in order to get your upgrades and whatnot, this system they have in place where you get a loot box every time you level up is good. That's the way it should be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was what Overwatch was doing for a while.
Yeah. So my question, my concern later is when you reach a certain Apex level, and I use that pun intentionally, then you're not going to be earning anything anymore, right?
Oh yeah? You
won't be able to get those loot boxes. I didn't see a way that you can spend in-game currency to get loot boxes. The game loot boxes. So that's a big concern I have for the long term, that people will just be pumping money into it for the sake of pumping money into it.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a lot of your experience is tied to how good you are at the game, so I suppose that makes sense. It, you know, for bad players, the incentive to keep playing isn't maybe as high as it should be, but I'm really nitpicking because the gameplay is really solid. I'm having fun with it. Drew, who used to be a host on the Modern Cast, we've been playing together. He's really good, so he's kind of trying to teach me things. So
cool. I think I'll check it out after I'm done with Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Or just whenever my parents are around. because I kind of prefer to play Kingdom Hearts without them in the
Oh,
house.
Sure. Yeah, you want your peace and quiet.
Exactly.
I encourage you to join me and play some rounds.
If it's free, then why not?
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt. It's about a 26 gig download, so
yeah, I just got a 4 terabyte hard drive, external hard drive for my PS4, so it's not small potatoes.
There you go. And then I've been playing the Division 2 private beta.
Oh yeah, how's that?
I got into it, which was really nice. Haven't been able to sink as much time as I've wanted to put in because, you know, birthday weekend, other things have been taking priority. But like Thursday and Friday, I got to put the hours in, and also really fun. It's meeting all the expectations and worries that I had. You know, it's there's some frame rate drops every now and again, but the chugging, I think this is an early beta build. See, unlike Anthem, that was only like a few weeks out from release, and just a month or two before release, this build was made. I think the Division 2, this build for the beta was a while ago. That's what it feels like.
Okay.
And they put a lot of effort into it. The amount of content in this beta is really good. You have main missions, you have side missions that are super challenging. It introduces basically what the whole game is going to be, which is really nice. It feels truly like what a demo should be, right?
Oh, nice.
And I
haven't had that in a while.
It's a real shame that you have to kind of go through this rigmarole of wanting and trying to play this. Like, if you really, really wanted to get into this beta, and you didn't want to run the risk of not being kind of selected to be in the private beta, then you had to pre-order the game, right? And naturally, because it's Ubisoft, there's that massive, complicated table, like, oh, what if you get the super ultra mega edition, then you can get into this with these perks. Like, ugh. Well, I mean, I just went to Ubisoft's site and I signed up, and they sent me an email, and I was like, hey, I got in. So I can't say much about the story because they're holding a lot of that back. I think that's clearly on purpose, obviously.
Oh yeah.
There was a really little side note. There was a really funny email sequence that came out like last week, where they were trying to convince people to get into sign up for the beta or pre-order the game. It goes, the title for the Division 2 was, "You want to see a real government shutdown?"
Oh boy.
Because it was during the government shutdown too, or like just after it had just ended. So that was really funny. I kind of chuckled. It's like, okay, because the whole premise of the game is like the whole political system has collapsed. It takes place in DC, so all of DC is just a disaster. It's big quarantine zone and everything. Like 2 hours later, another email was sent out saying, "We apologize." My reaction to that was just, fucking pussies.
Yeah.
Nothing at all was offensive about that previous email. Nothing.
Yeah. Take a page out of id Software's book and don't apologize.
Yeah, right. I think in this case, the apology made him look worse.
Yeah.
So, I think it's because they also had came out with a statement prior that, no, this game's not political, much like in the case of Far Cry 5.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you make comments like that, that kind of, I guess,
yeah,
it's in perspective. But back to the game itself. Much of the gunplay is quite nice. Some enemies are more bullet spongy than others, which isn't nice. However, if you realize and grab your loot and get your guns, upgraded and your armor upgraded, upgrade your character like an RPG character would, then the game, then those bullet spongy feels essentially go away.
Oh yeah.
The issue I have behind it with this beta was, I think, this is just a theory of mine and how I enjoy games, is let's take an RPG and you're oh, there's Kagura from the chat and Twitch saying Far Cry 5 and Fallout got platinum. Congratulations. Never gotten a platinum in a single game myself.
Nice.
Not the completionist type. But anyways, let's take an RPG and you get to a boss battle or what have you, and you're underleveled, right? Or you're trying to play a certain way. It's like, well, this round I'm not going to use magic. You can get by a good RPG. You can get by, and there's different ways to beat different things, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not getting that feeling in Division 2, because there was a couple missions in there where they just felt impossible because of the bullet sponginess at times and the way the AI functioned. So, if there's an AI with a grenade launcher or something, they'll just spam the grenades. So, because it's a cover shooter, you'll go duck and cover, shooty, bang, bang kind of deal, right? You can't be on the cover. You're just constantly moving back and forth because this dude, or dudes, it could be at times, keeps spamming grenades your way. And you lose health so quick that you're not really having fun. You can't really do a strategy or anything. You're just running and ducking, not even being able to shoot back. So that was noticeable. Hopefully they fix that. There was one side mission in particular. It was nearing the end of the beta, where I got into a group, and your objective is to get to the roof. Well, there's this one area, I believe it's in a hotel. Yeah, I think it's a hotel. And we all get there and fire, we attack the AI. Well, the AI was ridiculous, where everybody in the back, there was like 20 people there, right?
Yeah.
There's like 6 dudes in the back. They all have grenades, and they all throw them at the same time.
Oh, no.
Like, what? There's like 4 people in the front that you can see them as kind of the madness characters, where they just run at you screaming. Very Fallout-esque,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they have so much armor that you just pump a full magazine with your at the time of the beta. Or at least in this case, I had the best gun you could probably get. Pumped a full mag into this person running at me, just like whether it's in the face or body, it didn't matter, because of all the armor they had. They're still alive.
Oh yeah.
So that mission was basically impossible.
Oh man.
So I don't know how you'd be able to beat that in any way. Personally, I was trying to cheese it by like, okay, what I'll do is I'll the team, like half the team would fall back and lure characters backwards, and then you die immediately, the other 2, then you respawn ahead of them, so then you can take out the other enemies. So there's not a flood of them coming at you at once. But not even that works, because, well, they're too bullet spongy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But everything else was solid. I didn't have any technical issues, no server issues. A much better experience than what I went through with the Anthem beta.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think I recall hearing what you said on the Modern cast.
Yeah, the Anthem beta was an absolute disaster. A lot of technical issues. Whenever I came across anything technically problematic in Division 2, it was just quickly solved. I mean, shit, there was a 20 gig update or some nonsense.
Oh wow.
The very next day so they're fixing these things.
Yeah. They're learning.
Ubisoft's learning. How about that? So hopefully this game gets off to a good launch come March, and I might be getting this. It might be my little live. I mean, they might be getting me into a live service model game.
Huh? Who would have thought?
Yeah, it's happening. So that was my thoughts over Division 2. Why don't we get into our topic right away? Or do you have any games you would like to talk about before that?
Yeah, I've already given my thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's pretty much the only game I'm playing right now. So,
all right, fair enough.
Although I did get myself a few games off of good old games recently. Like, got Jazz Jackrabbit. That's a game from my childhood, big staple. We only had the demo growing up, but now I have the full version, and I'm looking to jump right into it as soon as I'm done with Kingdom Hearts. And then I also got FTL Faster Than Light.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That one looks to be interesting. It's like roguelike spaceship management thing.
Nice.
And I also got A Bird Story and Finding Paradise, which are the sequels to the Moon.
Oh, okay, yeah, you have mentioned those before.
Yeah, I'm looking to get into those as well once I'm done with the other stuff. Cool. I loved To the Moon, and I'm interested to see how the story continues.
There you go. Yeah, that game meant a lot to you. Perfect.
Absolutely.
And for just a quick reminder, head on over to the Epic Game Store. Axiom Verge is free right now.
Oh, nice.
The game you introduced me to, Colin. I'm very glad. I got it for the Switch personally, but it's free on Epic Games. Even though I already have the game, I went over to Epic and got it for free because you can't. A free game never hurts. If you haven't played it before, I encourage everyone to check it out.
Yep, it's really good. If you love Metroid, you'll love Axiom Verge.
Absolutely. All right, quick drop, and we'll move on into the puzzle games that changed the way we puzzle.
Puzzle. Puzzle Games.
Puzzle Games. Well, that's an interesting way to put it. Okay. So perhaps you've heard of these puzzle games. Tetris. You heard of Tetris, Colin?
What is that?
What is that?
Sounds lame. It'll never catch on.
Yeah, I doubt it. So Tetris was made by like some Russian dude, and it came to the US. You can just look up a simple YouTube video explaining like the origins of Tetris. But what made it popular? Well, for those that don't know, I don't know how you would. It's falling blocks of polynomials that you try and match up, fill in gaps, and then the blocks and rows disappear. Keep going, things get faster. Very simple concept. Everything can be shaped in a different way. 4 blocks can be shaped. Polynomials. I believe it was a launch title with the Game Boy.
Yes, it was. And quite addicting on all platforms.
All platforms. It's still addicting to this day. I spoke about PlayStation VR Tetris Effect and how addicting that is.
Oh, yeah?
How they managed to bring visuals and music to how Tetris works. The amount of innovation of what they've been able to do with Tetris is quite something over the years and keep it relevant. Cool. It's definitely one of the most addicting games that's ever existed, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's pretty much synonymous with video games along with Super Mario.
Yep, I agree. Do you associate it with Nintendo, or is Tetris its own thing?
I'd say it's more its own thing, because me and my siblings, and even my mom, sometimes we'd play Tetris a lot on the computer growing up. Whenever we were bored with the other games.
Mm-hmm.
It was always fun, always addicting. We'd always try to beat each other's high score. Whenever I beat their high score, I'd just write taunting messages like, how you like that?
My first experience with Tetris was definitely with the Game Boy and at the dentist office of all places.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of put your. I'm still scared of the dentist to this day. I don't know. It's traumatized as a child, I guess. But
you got a root canal or something?
No. Just maybe having 4 teeth pulled without any anesthetic could do that when you're a child. That was.
Oh yikes!
Hasn't been the same since. I've seen some things.
You sure have.
Yeah. But yeah, there's something about Tetris in the way it kind of puts you in a mindset and relaxes you. That's what it does.
Yeah.
So its competitor, Sega, or Nintendo's competitor in this case, they came out with a different sort of version of Tetris. And there's 2 of them. There's one called Columns, and the other is Puyo Puyo. The latter is more well-known at this point than the former.
Yeah, I remember seeing Columns as in Sears catalogs as part of the Sega Genesis lineup. I remember always being curious what it was supposed to be like. I never got around to playing it.
Well,
I just know it was like a falling jewel puzzle game of some sort.
Yes. So much like how Puyo Puyo is sets of, or a pair of blobs, right?
Yeah.
And they fall down just like Tetris. You match up the colors once you get more than 3 or more. Or is it 4 or more? I can't remember. Puyo.
4.
I think it's 4. Then they disappear. And there you go. In Columns, there are jewels in sets of 3. And there's different jewels and different colors with the jewels. So you try and match those and the colors. So the same concept as Puyo Puyo came from Columns. And you can definitely see the Tetris influence easily. And they just kind of spun it around. So that was Sega's answer. They tried to do their own thing. Puyo Puyo ended up becoming very popular and synonymous with Sega because they started putting like anime characters involved, having goofy little stories in some of the games. I have 3 Puyo Puyo games for my Sega Saturn. No lie.
Oh, nice.
And they're all goofy and have different little quirks about them. So it's interesting. How do you think puzzle games from the past, because in the 80s and 90s they were very popular, right?
Oh yeah.
Are they still popular today?
In modern times, I'm not quite so sure, but I do know for like I think the 2000s there were quite a few. And I think also the early 2010s there were quite a few puzzle games that came out. There was like the Ace Attorney series, there was the Professor Layton series.
Well, I'm talking more along the lines of the Tetris Puyo Puyo type games.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they seem to have kind of fallen off the radar recently, because I think Tetris and Puyo Puyo pretty much nailed it. I mean, I know recently the Switch had like Puyo Puyo Tetris released recently. I think I actually played that with you at one point.
Oh yeah, it's super fun. That is a super fun game, but
aside from that, you don't really see much aside from reinventions of Tetris and Puyo Puyo. I know Puyo Puyo made a very brief appearance in Sonic Mania.
Did it?
Like, yeah, it was like Chemical Plant Zone 2. You end up
oh, you're talking Mean Bean Machine.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
which is
something like
basically Puyo Puyo, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I think it has to do with mobile games.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
And these types of puzzle games are very easy to emulate. I mean, hell, my there was kids with their graphing calculators had Tetris on them, for Christ's sake. Right?
Yeah, you according to the LGR Lazy Game Reviews YouTube channel, some people even managed to get Doom on them.
At this point, yeah, I totally see that. It's interesting. Bejeweled, that's another type of Tetris Puyo Puyo offshoot. You know,
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush, that's another one. And they've sort of monetized them into, you can, they make them borderline, I don't want to say impossible, but if you want to keep playing them or go to another level with different tasks, and then you've got to wait, or you need certain items to unlock, and that's how they monetized it. So it's, when you look at it from a different perspective, then possibly these types of puzzle games are stronger than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it pretty much is the mobile market.
Yeah, it's just the people who are more into console and PC gaming don't really pay attention to them.
Yeah, and they don't get the buzz. Candy Crush got a lot of buzz, but
it sure did.
It's kind of fallen out now at that point.
I still play it from time to time.
Which puzzle game do you gravitate towards the most, and why?
Probably Tetris, although I haven't had as much access to the Puyo Puyo type games. Those are fun, but Tetris is more my jam. I mean, I had it, like I said, played it on the PC, but also had it on my Game Boy and played the heck out of it. It's just a timeless game. And everyone can enjoy it. Doesn't matter who you are, young or old.
Yeah. If I was better at Puyo Puyo, I would gravitate towards that more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I definitely do. I have a hard time planning X amount of steps ahead when I don't know the colors involved. I don't know. It's something that I'll definitely need to practice more and more. Much like a lot of other games out there. But there's something about Tetris where you just get it.
Oh yeah.
While the Puyo Puyo and Column series takes a little bit more thinking.
Yeah, it's true.
To me, it's a much bigger challenge. Tetris, it's all about speed more than anything, and just, you don't need to know the next like 2, 3, 4 steps. You just, oh, it's a block. It goes over here now. Oh, this fits here. This fits. It's just fitting things rather than setting things up.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Obviously, you want to get four or more rows to go away at once, and that's a Tetris, but you get the idea.
Yeah. On a side note, you should check out the YouTube video, The History of the Soviet Union as told by the Tetris theme.
Oh, you know what?
Really
I have seen that. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, it's quite different.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that they put lyrics to the song, and it's really well done.
Yep. Alrighty. I think I've said my piece. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, with that being said, I shall play Chrono Cross.
Yay.
Alrighty, 32 minutes in, Colin. Making good time. Good time.
That we are.
Okay. Colin, we have a 5-star review. Would you mind reading that for me?
I shall. This is an iTunes/Stitcher review from Elsa151988. Subject title: Best podcast ever. Love listening to all of this cast at night after my kids go to sleep, and it is all me time. The few hours I get to spend is great, and always look forward to it almost every day. Ah, that's flattering.
It's very nice. Might be our nicest one yet.
Yeah.
And Colin, where can people hit us up and leave us a review if they so choose?
Yeah, there's all sorts of avenues. You got iTunes, you got Stitcher Radio, you got Podbean, and I forget the rest.
It's everywhere but SoundCloud, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to contribute to the cast and help us out, just head on over to iTunes and leave us a nice little review. And a little hint, doing a little anime giveaway next month.
Ooh.
Won't say what it is yet, but we will. You can get a head start on that by subscribing to us on any site. An iTunes review would get you a second entry, increase your odds. All you have to do is hit us up on social media, take a screenshot that you are subscribed, you'll be entered. Go. I'm trying to set up something through that's much easier to just prove that that you're entered or subscribed somewhere. So, yeah.
Subscribe, people.
Subscribe. Well, let's get into our theme, puzzle games. This was your theme pick, Colin.
Yes, it was.
Why did you choose this theme today?
Yeah, puzzle games are just something I always enjoy. I mean, a lot of the games I own on the DS are puzzle games, and some of them are up there with my all-time favorites. I like the Phoenix Wright games, the Professor Layton games, Ghost Trick. Those are always fun to play. And Ghost Trick especially has a really good story, so I highly recommend that one. And yeah, I just like puzzle games. They're good for challenging the brain. I like doing Sudoku stuff every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
It's always fun. Sometimes crosswords, but more often than not Sudoku.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing Resident Evil a lot lately, and there's a lot of puzzles in those.
Oh yeah, much to Kevin's chagrin.
Well, you know what I've noticed now that I've played. I've beaten 3.
Yes.
Resident Evil games. Well, I'm almost done with Nemesis, finally.
Nice.
But the more Resident Evil I play, the more the puzzles make sense.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I haven't... Like, you just start to get it, because it has a lot to do with the inventory management, and what's really helped is I write down what room and what I think the item I need in that room is.
Oh, yeah.
Because I played through all of Resident Evil 2 Remake, and the puzzles there, with the map system, and, you hover over certain items, and it tells you, essentially, what you're missing there, while the old games didn't do that. So, playing the old ones through, I was like, I just wrote down, okay, there's a room on this floor that I need this. So then when I got an item, I just look at my little list there, and I go, oh, okay, I have to go there. Bang, nice. No problem, right? Yeah. I'm running through them much faster. I'm getting more and more steeped in the universe, but so there's an example of, it doesn't have to be a standalone puzzle game for you to enjoy. It's a different sort of puzzle element. I think that's why I really got so invested into Sweet Home last year when we covered that. That was super interesting. It's a puzzle game in itself, even though it's also survival to it. Survival games always have a lot of puzzle elements to it, hard puzzle elements to it. I think we spoke in the past of my horrid Silent Hill experiences with the puzzles in those games. Those are ridiculous.
Yeah, they are cryptic as hell.
Those are really bad. So what do you think makes a good puzzle game for the theme?
I think if it's its puzzles just kind of get your brain going. They make you think
Mm-hmm.
successfully. Just gotta, I mean, you gotta strike that right balance between cryptic and downright obtuse.
Right.
Because as we saw with games like King's Quest, the logic would just be completely bonkers.
Point and click adventure, which is essentially an all puzzle game series. That's yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes King's Quest and Space Quest, those things get a little ridiculous.
Yeah. You definitely need a lot of beta testers for games like that, because what makes sense to you might not make sense to most other people.
That's well said. Absolutely. How do you make a real-time strategy is essentially or not real-time. Turn-based strategy is essentially a moving puzzle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like Fire Emblem, Advance Wars,
Yeah.
Wargroove.
Wargroove, that's right. Go buy that shit. I streamed an entire side mission of that, and it took like an hour. I was just so into it. I was like, I love this.
Nice.
I think in terms of a simplistic puzzle game, that's kind of what we chose for a lot of these. To a point, a puzzle platformer where you're moving around a level, and you got to get certain items, and or platform a certain way.
Yeah.
You got to have some sort of simplicity to it with a staging difficulty that makes sense. Yeah, you got to find that balance. I agree.
Yeah. I think I remember Yahtzee having a similar comment in his review of Cave Story. He's like, might make sense in the moment, but chances are or the chance is high that it's possible you're mad.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the first game. We have 8 games to go through. Each host picked 2, including the guest who couldn't make it. But Colin, what was your first pick?
My first pick was Boulder Dash. It's developed by Peter Lipa and Chris Gray and published by First Star Software. Released in 1984 on the Atari 8-bit, but later ported to a large number of different systems, including Commodore 64, Atari 2600, and NES.
Actually, it was the Atari 5200.
Oh, there was a 2600 version, too.
I'm sure there is. I just couldn't find it. Tried to find it, but I played the NES version personally.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, me too. Because my emulator couldn't do the Atari version for shit.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Damn it, this shit's too old.
Yeah. Yeah, I picked this one because I remember playing it on the Commodore 64 growing up. I mean, it wasn't one of my favorite games, but it was still fun. Now, this one is definitely one of the simpler ones. Sort of plays similar to Dig Dug. You're digging through like dirt and caves to avoid boulders. You basically, because if you dig out the dirt from under a boulder, it falls, and you have to avoid it when it does. Now the object of the game is to collect gems. And when you get enough, an exit appears, and you need to get to it before the time expires. Now,
yeah, you got to get enough of them as well to open the exit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you got to be careful with the boulders, because if there are multiple boulders on top of each other, and you dig out the dirt from the sides of the stack, they'll actually fall sideways and down like marbles.
Yeah, what a cheap shit. When that happened, I was like, hey. That's not how this works. Tricky.
And sometimes you need to kill monsters to get gems.
That was cool. Cool. I like that. How it was a good example of the game kind of throwing new elements at you in a very simple setting where level 1-1, it was just simply don't dig under a single rock, right?
Yep.
And then as you move on, the next challenge was don't dig next to two of them. Then you have other things you have to avoid. So it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually enjoyed this one for maybe 10 minutes, but then after that I kind of got bored. It's just same shit, a lot of the levels.
Monotony became a thing, sure.
Yeah.
But it is a much older game in that sense, probably the oldest we've covered in a while. We don't go back to 1984 too much, or even earlier. So, I think it's worth checking out. It's definitely a solid game. It's just, it doesn't have much more to it once you get through the first few stages,
Yeah.
Simple enough.
I have to just give it barely a fail. It's just...
Oh, wow, that's harsh. For Boulder Dash?
Just for my personal tastes. I mean, I just feel like it wears out its welcome pretty quickly.
I suppose when you compare it to the other games on the list, I can agree. Okay. All right. Next game.
All right. Next is Mario and Wario on the Super Famicom. That's right, we're going Japanese here, people.
Love it.
Yeah. It was developed by Game Freak, the Pokemon guys, and published...
When they were allowed to make other games? No way.
Yeah. And it was published by Nintendo, released on the Super Famicom in August 27th of 1993, only in Japan.
Much later than I expected, but hey, Super Famicom, so it made sense.
Yeah. And this is according to Wikipedia, this is the first Mario game to ever not be released anywhere other than Japan.
Oh.
But possibly not the only one.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, the more you know. Now, the premise is fairly simple and quirky. Wario is up to no good and starts dropping objects like buckets and barrels onto Mario's head.
What a dick.
And since he apparently can't remove them himself, Mario can only wander blindly, and the player controls a fairy named Wanda, who can use her magic to change the environment in order to guide Mario to Luigi so he can remove the object.
The fairy was bit forced.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to use the Super Nintendo mouse for this game. Now,
I wish I had it, because I have a Super Nintendo mouse. How cool would that be? This should have came out in the West.
Yeah, I would have been all over that. Now, the reason I know about this game to begin with is thanks to Pokemon Blue and Red.
Oh?
Where if you go up to a game console in someone's house at one point, the display will say, "It's a game about Mario with a bucket on his head."
Oh my god, I never knew that.
Here you go. And that got me wondering if it was in fact a real game. And then once Google and Wikipedia became commonplace, I looked it up and found this game.
That's crazy you would remember something like that all these years later.
Yeah, I just got so curious. I mean, I never saw a single Western released Mario game that had him with a bucket on his head. So I was just determined to know, what was this game? And since both Pokemon and this game were made by Game Freak, it makes sense for a little bit of a callback.
Yeah, that does make sense. I thought this game was a bit too easy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, you're just hitting the empty blocks accordingly. Mario just keeps going like a lemming. We'll get to that game. But the blocks, I felt, didn't have a large variety to them, or at least it didn't happen quick enough.
Yeah, I think that was probably just for the first level. The second, I think level 2 is when things start getting really challenging, because some of the blocks are timed. They're only there for like a short time, so you gotta kind of click them in sequence and at the right time. Otherwise, Mario will fall onto spikes.
No, I mean, I get it. I just didn't think maybe I feel like the game was holding itself back by already kind of giving. I felt the answer was already there before you even started levels. Like you could immediately see it. But maybe that's the charm. Maybe that's also part of the charm of the game.
Yeah. Although in later levels they all start getting really big, so that requires a little more strategy on the player's part.
There's a few offshoots of this game. I believe one's called like Mario and Donkey Kong Mayhem. They came out of the DS and 3DS respectively. Those games, and it's definitely an offshoot of this Mario and Wario series, and you use the stylus to get you to do a lot of blocks, and that had a lot more originality to it. I think that this being the first one, I think it's fine. I just think the challenge wasn't quite there for me.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I should check those out. I mean, I like this game enough. It's an easy pass from me.
It's barely a fail.
Aww.
I did like the goofiness of Mario just having a bucket on his head, and he has to get to Luigi at the end, and Luigi takes the bucket off, and they're like, "Yay!" Like, okay.
And apparently, Wario has nothing better to do with this time.
It should have been the other way around, I think.
Oh yeah.
I think Luigi should have won. Should have been the one with the bucket on his head. I don't know. I didn't look up later levels. I only played it for like 30 minutes an hour. I wonder if Luigi also gets a bucket on his head, and you have to do both Mario and Luigi. Then you get to the end, and like Peach or someone then takes the buckets off their heads.
Yeah. There's like 3 difficulty levels. There's Peach, who moves more slowly, and then Mario is medium difficulty, and then I think Yoshi was the fastest, which is highest difficulty.
Right. It was weird that they based the speed of the character as the difficulty.
Yeah, I think it worked.
It was different. That was different. My first thought was, okay, the puzzles will be harder. No, the character just moves faster.
Well, the more fast paced it is, the faster you have to think.
I mean, I get that.
Or plan ahead.
Yeah. Alrighty.
But, yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say.
Okay. So let's get to Kevin's pick.
Okay.
I'll do the first one. You can do the second one.
Alrighty.
So Kevin's first pick, whom also couldn't be here today, poor guy. He didn't have emergencies. We knew about him not being here weeks ago. So his first pick is Tetris Attack. Came out on the Super Nintendo and Game Boy. Runs for about $6 to $10. That's something we failed to mention here. Boulder Dash runs about $14 on the NES, among others. And then the Mario and Wario game is about $10 if you own a Super Famicom. So for that price, I think it's worth it.
Sure.
Yeah. So Tetris Attack, developed by Intelligent Systems, the Fire Emblem people.
Oh.
Published by Nintendo. Released Japan, October 27th, 1995. Worldwide later in 1996.
Okay.
So much like Columns, but instead you have all the blocks already on the board. Right?
Yeah. It's like a match 3 game.
Yeah, you have you control these 2 white squares that go around the blocks that are already on the board, and you have the ability to swap or switch the blocks and try and get at least 3 matching shapes or colors to clear them out. So funny that a game that was called Tetris reminded me more of Columns.
Ha.
You know?
Yeah.
because you're not filling in gaps. You're matching, right?
Yeah.
So, and the Mario aesthetic to it all was quite pleasing.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting this to be like a Mario Yoshi game.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was kind of cool.
I vastly enjoyed this game.
Yeah, me too. It's one of the ones I spent more time on than the others.
And there's that competitive co-op factor the game has as well, you know?
Oh yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was a 2-player option.
Yeah. I did get to play the 2-player, and things get heated, man.
Oh yeah?
It's good. It's two people getting. I mean, I saw a lot of Puyo Puyo versus Tetris has, you know, attack modes in it as well, and so this was a very welcome challenge, especially when you're against friends.
Nice.
Gets an easy pass from me.
Yeah, I'll give it a pass too.
But yeah, I think the Mario aesthetic was definitely my favorite part. The colors were very nice.
Yeah.
So far so good.
Mm-hmm.
What was Kevin's second pick?
It is Real Monsters on Super Nintendo and Genesis. This one I didn't get to spend a lot of time on because I was pretty stretched for time.
Sure.
After work this week. It was developed by Real Time Associates, that is in television games, or they made in television.
They made a bunch of Intellivision games. That was their prime. That was their prime time.
and published by Viacom,
the evil corporation.
Released in August of 1995. Now, personally, I didn't really watch much of Real Monsters as a kid because I didn't really have Nickelodeon on any of the networks that we had. But I knew it existed.
Oh, I watched quite a bit of Real Monsters as a kid. I did. It was an interesting show, like right up there in the Ren and Stimpy type stuff. The unique kind of gross 90s aesthetic to it all.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I really liked the color, the sprites, and the animation, all matched up with the show, what I remember. However, I don't think this game's very good.
Yeah, I remember thinking, where exactly are the puzzles in this puzzle game? This just looks like a platformer.
So it's a puzzle. It's what you would call a puzzle platformer, where you go around a oh man, what's another example? Arrow the Acrobat can be considered a puzzle platformer, where you have your stage and you run around your singular map area, and as you go around that map, you either find items or you get skills that can get you to the end of the stage, which is usually located somewhere on the map, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the idea. This executes it in the most below par, generic way I've seen in a long time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Very uninspiring, especially with the, to me, clear and easy potential this game had.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because you have your three main characters from the show, right? And they're supposed to have a special move and a unique trait, right? That gets you over obstacles. So you're using your skills and traits at like a puzzle, and you switch between the characters as a puzzle would to overcome the obstacle, right?
Yeah.
But it's so rinse and repeat all the time that you never feel like you're really accomplishing anything, and everything then starts to look more or less the same over and over again. Yeah. It's like, oh, this person jumps more. Oh, a human. I scare them. Okay, but I have to scare them with this monster. And you know these things immediately. So you lose
Yeah.
interest. The challenge isn't there.
Yeah. It's not very engaging.
Not engaging. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Which is a real
Definitely.
shame because aesthetically it was very pleasing, and then all of a sudden I wasn't pleased anymore.
Yeah, I have to give this one a fail.
It's an easy fail.
Yeah.
I can already tell you it's the worst game on the list.
Yeah. Before we get to the next one, do you mind if I go to the washroom quickly?
I don't mind at all.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
And I'm back.
Hey.
All right.
Alrighty. Let's get into my first pick. This will be fun.
Yeah.
I went. You guys seem to be what I like to do on this cast when I'm picking my games is think outside the box and pick something that all you other guys aren't. Right? Way different. And when you chose the puzzle game themes, I kind of had an idea of which ones I was going to choose.
Oh yeah.
And I went the PlayStation route. So we're thinking more 3D at this point, and isometric, if you will. So I thought outside the box, and I go, you know what? I'm going to pick a game that frustrated me to no end as a kid, and I'm going to pick a game that looked incredibly Japanese and strange. The first one, RL Monsters is $6, by the way, if you want that piece of thing. Okay, so the first game I picked was No One Can Stop Mr. Domino.
That's definitely the weirdest title on the cast.
Absolutely. PlayStation, developed by Art Dink, whom, yeah, well, they're well known for making a bunch of anime games of no note. I guess a couple of years ago they made Sword Art Online Lost Song, which was a generic RPG with the Sword Art Online characters.
Nice.
Published by Acclaim in North America, JVC, of all people, in Europe. Art Dink themselves did published it themselves in Japan. Released Japan January 8th, 1998. Europe, September 1998. North America, October 31st, 1998. A little time in between there. Premise of this is you are a domino, you know, a person domino thing, anthropomorphic. You run around essentially a track. Think of like a racetrack where you go in a circle. And you set dominoes accordingly as you run over certain squares. And you avoid obstacles and the like. And there's even quick time buttons that you'd press, which gives you, you know, you can see the prompt on the ground. Press it accordingly, and that'll go through. You can go around this track as many times as you need. You know, it kind of like resets until you're confident you beat the level, and upon completion or something that you think the idea is for everything to flow together in one fluid motion of these dominoes falling over. And what's cool is there are spaces in between. So for like the button prompts, it triggers a what do you call those? Rorschach machines? No. You know, the linked contraptions. There's a name for them.
Like Rube Goldberg?
Rube Goldberg. My God, Rorschach is the are the ink blots.
Yeah.
Rube Goldberg. Yeah. That was cool. I wasn't expecting that going in, where the dominoes will trigger like various Rube Goldberg machines that are linked to the dominoes going down. It was really cool.
Yeah, I like that about this game.
And it functions like an endless runner until you complete your track.
Yeah. Yeah, I really well, I didn't manage to get a copy of this game, so I watched it on YouTube, but what I saw of it looked really good, really entertaining. It's like, I mean, the music's catchy, the visuals are really unique and colorful. I especially like the amusement park stage because it's got good music and visuals, but also cool use of various rides as part of the background. It's just a lot of fun to look at.
It's very pleasing, surprisingly enough. It does have that wonky 3D mid to late 90s look to it. You know, it might not be for everybody. Might throw you off visually at first, but I quickly got used to it and really enjoyed the aesthetic to it all.
Yeah. And I like the sense of humor it had. Like in stage 3, you see the grandpa wake up off the floor. He opens a nearby cabinet, gets hit with a boxing glove, and then that knocks him over, and then he falls on the first domino in the chain.
Yes, yeah. There's a good little variety. I mean, even the first level is well, the first kind of area is the casino, and the first level is like Fat Tony's Lodge or something, and it's PHAT. That immediately stood out to me, and I was like, "Yep, we're the late '90s here."
That's funny.
You remember calling kids fat in school, but you were like, "No, I called you PHAT fat, which means you're cool."
Honestly, that was never a thing where I went to school.
Oh, well, okay, fine. You didn't grow up in Houston then, I guess. You didn't have the PHAT things in the good old Canada?
Not that I knew of. At least not in the school I went to.
Man.
I mean, we knew it existed. We just didn't use it.
Oh.
We just thought it was lame.
Oh, you're calling us lame, Colin? You calling the Americans lame?
Damn right. We're Canadian, bitch.
I was pleasantly surprised with No One Can Stop Mr. Domino.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I thought maybe it'd be kind of a generic setup domino game, but this really gave a good, unique spin to it. Easy pass for me.
Easy pass as well. Alrighty.
I can tell it would be pretty hard if I were to actually play it, but just the way it's executed, I would eat it right up. Just rise to the challenge.
Well, because it gives you the option to continually restart the level when you go around the track.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
You start getting the hang of things much easier than you would expect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's cheap. It's only about $9.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think I'll pick it up next time I'm at a retro game store if I see it.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I found it difficult to find because I've been looking myself. I had to emulate it, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think it's on the PSN store either, which is weird.
Ah.
Yeah. Bummer, I know. So, the second game comes with a childhood story.
Oh.
This is Intelligent Cube, the PlayStation. Developed by G Artists. Published by Sony. Released Japan January 31st, 97. North America September 30th, 97. Europe October 97. Okay. So, I was a member of the PlayStation Underground magazine, and they came with demo discs.
Yes.
And to my memory, could be wrong, but I know Intelligent Cube was on one of those demo discs. I believe it was the same one with Twisted Metal and Tomb Raider. So I played the fuck out of that demo disc. Right? So
yeah.
When I decided I want to play a different game, I'd throw on Intelligent Cube every now and again. And maybe get through a level. But let's see, 97, I would have been 9 years old.
Uh-huh.
This game's pretty damn complicated and confusing, especially for my 9-year-old brain.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
So, what this game is, and I'll get to the story later, is you run around a basically platform, and there's cubes just rolling at you.
Mm-hmm.
And you clear certain cubes as they approach, and the cubes are cleared by marking a spot on the stage. And then you wait for the various cubes to roll on that spot, and then they disappear. So it deactivates them, as the game wants to say. And that's the best way I can describe it. It gets a little bit more complicated with the different colored blocks, and you can't clear the solid black ones unless you have like a chain with them all. So Colin, can you help me out here, because I'm 31 now and I'm still a bit confused playing this game.
Yeah, I wrote a bit of an explanation myself. So it's like as you said, cubes rolling towards you. You control a guy running around on some plane of existence, lighting up squares in front of individual cubes in order to, quote, capture them as they roll on top of the lit square. It's like regular gray cubes will just disappear, but then you got green cubes that will explode and hit the 8 surrounding squares. And black cubes are forbidden, as in they should not be captured or exploded. And if they are, a row will fall off the edge of the stage, because that's the other thing. You've got like a set number of squares that you can allow the blocks to roll towards you before it's too late to clear all of them.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah. You do have a little bit of leeway in that you can allow 3 gray cubes to fall off the end before game over. But yeah, it seems to be one of those think-on-the-fly puzzle games where you have only a short amount of time to solve the puzzles. Otherwise, it's game over.
Yeah. It's a very interesting and complicated setup, but it makes sense in the end once you understand the basics. The issue I had as a child, which I had when I was first booting this game up, was the basics aren't exactly clear.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what made it a difficult transition, especially when we're comparing a lot of the other games on this list. This was easily the most complicated.
Yeah. I think there was actually some tutorials in the game, at least in the video I watched.
Yeah.
It's like how the gray cubes work, the green cubes, and the black cubes.
Yeah, I wish the demo disc had that.
Then that would be pretty confusing.
It's to this day the worst demo I've ever played because I just didn't fucking get it.
Oh man, that's.
I was like, I'm trying to clear the blocks. Why am I dying all the time? Oh, the black ones make the edge fall off, but you don't actually see the edge falling. You know, it's always off screen kind of deal.
Yeah. Huh.
It's
In the videos I watched, it would always like zoom in and see them fall. At least most of the time.
well, I mean, not in the demo disc.
Well, then fuck that demo disc.
Yeah, I know, right? It was stupid. So regardless of all this, I loved the challenge.
Oh yeah,
it was very addicting.
I can tell I would have loved it if I had managed to get a copy.
Yeah, it is not cheap. It runs anywhere from $60 to $100+.
Yeah, holy fuck.
And then here's the kicker: the game is available on the PSN store. Not in North America, though. It's available in the Japan and Euro store. You'd have to create a new account just to get it.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Although, isn't it also on the PlayStation Classic?
The PlayStation Classic did come out, and it was on there. You were indeed correct.
Yeah, I feel like that would be the only game I would truly buy it for.
Well, that's what a lot of people were, at least in North America. Everyone's like, oh my god, Intelligent Cube! Because we can't get it.
Yeah, really.
So, bad childhood memories, didn't get it. I get it now, it's much more clear. It's still pretty complicated because there's that sense of 3D visualization that you have to do.
Yeah.
And you know what this reminded me a lot of? The game Catherine.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Because that involves a lot of cubes as well.
Yeah, pulling cubes, making some disappear. I think Catherine is the successor to what Intelligent Cube is. And I know there's some PSP Intelligent Cubes out, PSP games, and some sequels and whatnot, but I think what made Catherine interesting was it has a lot of this concept, right, of 3D visualization and clearing blocks and going up a stage, and turned it upside down, innovated it. Yeah. So if you want a challenging puzzle game that has, I wish there was a lot more aesthetic to this.
Yeah,
it's extremely plain.
That would have definitely ramped it up a notch.
Yeah, no music. It was just this narrator. You're on a plain black abyss existence.
Yeah. They could at least have like a big sky view, like in some of the stages of Mario Sunshine, or
anything.
Space.
Do a pre-rendered background for Christ's sake.
Yeah, really. Could even put in some stuff from other PlayStation games like Final Fantasy or Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. I could see an Intelligent Cube sequel where it's like Tetris Effect, where it's music based.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Really cool. I don't think it's worth the $60 to $100 entry fee, but for the PSN purposes, for our Japanese and European listeners out there, definitely go on the PSN store and check this game out. So.
For sure.
Alrighty, why don't you do Gilo's first pick? It's our 7th game. We're going through pretty quick today.
Yeah. All right. The first game is Lemmings, developed by DMA Design, aka Rockstar, and published by Psygnosis, which is a subsidiary of British publish of Sony.
Yeah, it's like this British publisher that Sony owns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was released in the EU on February 14th, 1991, and in North America on 1992. Initially on the Amiga, but then it got ported to a whole bunch of other stuff, like DOS and Super Nintendo, which is the version I played.
I played the NES one.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Now, the way this game works is you have all these blue and green lemmings that you need to guide to the exit while avoiding obstacles, pits, and lava and other such things. You have to there's like a minimum number of lemmings that you have to get to the exit, and you assign various lemmings different roles and techniques in order to get them there. Like some you will assign as builders, who will basically put together little staircases to get over obstacles, or some are climbers where they can actually climb the walls,
Mm-hmm.
and others are floaters where they basically have little parasols that they can use to break their fall from a high height, because if they fall from too high of a height, then they die.
It goes splat.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell this game was originally meant for a computer, because a mouse and keyboard would have been a lot less cumbersome than a controller.
Do you know if the Super Nintendo version is compatible with the mouse?
I don't know. I mean, I played the regular controller version, but I can imagine it being compatible with it.
Yeah, it should be anyways. The NES version was quite difficult because of the cursor and how small the lemmings were.
Oh yeah, I can totally imagine.
That was pretty frustrating, but the challenge is quite nice. All the techniques and roles that you assign the lemmings is super fun.
Yeah.
There's such a sense of accomplishment in this game when you finally figure out, okay, I need to get these guys to climb, these guys to build, this guy to stop so they don't fall off an edge, and then you just see rows and rows of them just get to the exit, and you're like, yay, I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember as a kid, I could never figure this game out. I knew it involved giving the lemmings abilities.
Ah, this was your intelligent cube.
Sort of. I mean, we didn't have it on my computer, but I had friends who had it on theirs, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to give them their abilities. It was like,
oh,
yeah,
one of those situations.
Yeah, but now I do know, and I found it to be quite satisfying.
Yeah, this game is actually free on the Microsoft Store.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, totally free.
Cool beans.
Easy pass. Easy pass.
Definitely give this one a pass. And I can see there's a bit of, well, we mentioned it earlier, there's some similarity between this and Mario and Wario. Just guiding characters who move on their own to an end goal.
Yep. Essentially the same concept.
But this is definitely a lot more strategic.
The NES version was like the most expensive version at $23 about, and everything else was about $10 if you want to get it on console. So, pretty cool. It does get a little frustrating at times with some Lemmings levels, because you're on that singular screen because you can see the exit and everything, but just trying to work it is can be frustrating. Especially when like, if you mess up just one thing, you have to start the whole stage over again.
Oh yeah.
So there's
frustrating.
Yeah, there's that. Alrighty.
Although you have the ability to explode all of the lemmings on screen if you want to start over.
Yeah. But starting over is like the punishment seems overly harsh, you know?
Yeah.
But it makes sense in the game. You know, take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Last game on the list, 8th, is Dr. Mario on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Runs about $6, $6 buckaroos. Developed and published by Nintendo. Released July 27th, 1990. Just like columns, essentially, but you have pills that have two halves. I'm sorry, the game calls them capsules. Gotta make it PG, you know? But they have two halves. Each side has a color. Both halves can have the same color. You match up the colors in 3s or more to clear them, while the overall objective of each stage is to clear what's called viruses, which are like set pieces to clear along the level.
Mm-hmm.
or on the stage. So there you go. It's an extremely simple concept. Has 2 music tracks.
Yeah.
So pick your poison, because that's all you're gonna hear.
Yeah.
Very addicting game, though, I must say.
Absolutely. This is one of the ones I played the most of all of these games.
I played this the least, just in the terms of the last couple weeks, because I've already played this game a lot.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I remember playing this one briefly at my brother's friend's house and being completely unable to figure it out because it seemed like it was like Tetris, but I couldn't quite figure out how to make the viruses disappear.
Correct. I mean, but once you get it down, it's in concept, everything's like right in front of you, but there's something about how everything falls into place that gives it that extra challenge. And where the viruses are placed, you're just like, God, it's in the way. You could easily like screw yourself over and get a game over just placing capsules in the wrong areas. It's very interesting what they were able to do with the Tetris columns type formula and mold it together.
Yeah, it's one of those games where if you screw up even once, it kind of destroys your rhythm, and it's pretty difficult to get it back. But with a little practice, it gets easier and easier to get your rhythm, your groove back.
Some people are really good at this game too.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. It was pretty big way back when.
It was big. Easy pass, very simple. There you go.
Yeah, it's one of the. It's about as addicting as Tetris, and while frustrating at times, it can also be pretty exhilarating to get out of a tough spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely skill based. And I also give this one an easy pass.
Alrighty. Not much for fan comments this time. Puzzle games. When you think of retro games, you don't go back and choose the puzzle games very often. So the fan comments were. I just conglomerated into one thought because they all kind of said the same thing. Most have never played any of them besides Dr. Mario, but that one's fun. Which I was surprised that, to me, Lemmings is kind of...
Yeah, that one seems pretty ubiquitous, at least for PC gamers.
Yeah. I thought that would have had a lot more, but anyways... why don't you run through like the first half of our little community shoutouts? And if you want to get into this community shout out there, day before we record over the weekends, I put out a pinned tweet or an Instagram photo of games we're covering on the cast. All you have to do is like or retweet the post, and you can get on. So why don't you run through the first half here?
All right. There's RDT, World of Sport, Piquina Gamer, Everliving Games, Costa, Ufta Games, Fiend XTC, Ken Calcaterra, Pod Fever, AVG2 SAV, Mad Hennessy, and Curio H. Hap.
There you go. Bunch of scholars right there. Next half, we got Podcast Movement, Bunny ACPC, PJ Alpha Podcast. Look at that guy. Sure, his podcast is good too. The Podglomerate, Inspired Bread. There's your best name of the group right there. I love that one. I love you the most, Inspired Bread. AW Gaming, Super Retro Games. I love those guys. I love all the work they do. Fleeksy, PNG Gamer. Hey, look at that guy. He still exists. My Little Kingdom 82, Terry James, and our boy Gilo, who unfortunately couldn't make it today. So awesome.
Too bad.
And if you want to join a community, we have partnered up with the Retro Twitch community. So to join their Discord, it's very easy. Just go to twitter.com, retrotwitch.com. Got a link to the Discord. There you go. Good retro gaming community and all things other retro. We've also now part of the Anime Radicals group, so definitely hit those up. And with that, Colin, favorite and least favorite game of the cast?
For favorite, it's a bit of a tough choice, but I think I'm gonna go with No One Can Stop Mr. Domino, because that's seems like the most unique. It would be the most satisfying to play, and just the most fun, I'd say. Although Intelligent Cube and Dr. Mario get an honorable mention. Oh, and Lemmings.
A lot of winners on this cast, luckily enough.
And as for least favorite, definitely Real Monsters.
Yeah, I was like, are you gonna say? Is this guy gonna say Boulder Dash and throw me for a loop?
Nah. At least Boulder Dash, At least Boulder Dash is interesting for a while.
I agree.
Not quite so much.
Yep. My least favorite's easily Real Monsters. I vastly disliked that game, despite the fun aesthetic to it and how much I liked the show growing up. So that was a surprise. But hey, can't have everything. And at first, I was gonna choose Tetris Attack. I thought that was easily gonna be my most favorite because it was the most pleasing to look at, very addicting. However, I am in the same mindset as you, Colin. My favorite is No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. As you said, very unique. I love unique games. I love things that set themselves apart from others, and that's what No One Can Stop Mr. Domino did very well.
All right.
So cool. Short and simple cast today. It is under 2 hours, under an hour and a half at this point.
Yeah.
I wonder how it's going to be in post, but hey, this has been Red Leaf Retrocast episode 37, Puzzle Games. Go hit us up on the Twitter, the Instagram, whether it's Red Leaf Retrocast, Apple and JD. Use the hashtag Red Leaf Retrocast. Love that shit. We'll see you next time.
Bye now.
Oh, bang.
Yeah. That was fun.
That was fun. Very easy. But that's what happens when you cover a topic where there's not much else to say over the games.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's fine. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah. It's too bad we couldn't get the other guys on, but
yeah,
oh well.
I mean that would have been the extra time right there. Was someone else getting their opinions in for each of them, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Oh well. Oh wellsies.
That's life.
Yeah, well. Oh well. Oh boy.
Stupid families, they ruin everything.
Oh. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's end the stream.